You did though. You did. You figured it out.
I did. I overcome and adapt. Okay. We got to dive into this. We don't have a lot of time now because I want to be respectful of your time. You waited a while and I appreciate you. And I know that your family's fighting the flu. So let's do this. Let's do it. I want to do it my way. I want to Frank Sinatra this shizzle. So first of all, Shawna is literally one of my favorite humans on the internet, period, end of subject. Okay. So there's that statement. Now I want to say it's because she's like my little soul sister. Like, she is out there and she is giving some of the most incredible, unbelievable knowledge. This woman is wise beyond her years. She is a mother of how many kids do you have?
I have 5.
5 gorgeous children, like just gorgeous children, who she manages to wrangle, and she makes it look easy, but honey, I know it ain't. And she can be found on the internet with photos of her with a bottle of beer in one hand and a kid on the hip in the other. Like, you're an amazing person, and I can only hope that your children will one day grow to see what you are doing now to accomplish these incredible goals and obstacles that you're overcoming to get to where you're at. I mean, you are highly respected in our network. You have to know that.
Thank you so much. That's so nice of you. You're like the nicest person ever.
Listen, I'm not bringing people in here who are schmucks, so I'm just saying, right? Sure. But you do something for us that makes us feel like we can get out there and be who we are. And oh my God, please tell me this it says it's ended. No.
Hang on, let me double check. Pause.
I'm gonna throw up. Let's keep going. We're gonna keep going. I'm recording it.
Oh yeah,
it's still there?
It's hard to tell. It stops at like 1 minute and 40 seconds.
I don't even care at this point. Let's just keep recording.
Yeah.
Because Facebook's aggravating me. So you're amazing at what you do, but you're making it so that people like me can go out there and we know the right words to use as we get out there and do our thing. So I want to know a little bit about you as a person, though. What got you into all of this? Like, did you start in sales? Like, tell me a little bit about your background.
Yeah. So basically, I graduated from college in 2008. So there was like nowhere to get a job. And I always wanted to work with families. I had a degree in family social science, and I couldn't get a job, right? So I ended up being a receptionist for like 4 years at a children's clinic, and I really liked it, but it was basically a dead end. And when the economy started to improve, I ended up getting this really random job at a tissue donation center where I was approaching families who had just lost their loved one if they would consider donation, and specifically eye tissue donation. So like, it was like not only a very awkward conversation, but like a very weird body part to just be like, this really specific thing is like what we're asking for you to consider donation. And so I did that for a year, and just facilitating that conversation. Like, they would never say what we did was sales, like it was like a nonprofit, but it's very much along the same lines in business of like helping somebody navigate a decision, which is what you want to do as a salesperson. And so I ended up not really liking my boss, and I started my own cleaning company just because I was really sick of sitting behind the desk all day. And I learned quickly, as I was sort of, working at the office and then running the cleaning business, is you don't really have to convince women that they need a cleaning lady. Your marketing material is directed at the spouse, so the wife knows what to say
all day long.
Right? Yeah. And so I would spend all these
oh my God, I'm just dying laughing because my husband every year at Christmas, he's like, what do you want for Christmas? And I'm like, a maid.
Yeah, right? And it's weird because then they come with a lot of like, I should be doing this myself, and like, am I really that hardworking if I can't even clean and pick up after myself? So there's all these sort of like stories that people are telling them before they purchase a thing. So I started learning about marketing and this is like 2013. And so I actually started listening to the I Love Marketing podcast by Dean Jackson and Joe Polish.
Joe Polish. Oh my God.
Yeah. And so it was crazy because at the time, everybody was teaching you how to sell like a product, right? Like that's where everything that searched for about how to like better sell my service, everything was product geared, product centric, and they were the only people like at the time, or at least that I had stumbled upon, that were specific about selling the service, right? And so I just like loved them and ate it all up. And so fast forward, kid after kid after kid, we had 5 kids in 7 years, and we made a cross country move. I ended up like stepping away from the cleaning company, and we didn't have any money. It's really expensive in Connecticut, and with all these children, I was just sort of looking for something that I could do basically online. I needed something that was location independent because I knew that we'd be moving again. We ended up in Alabama 2 years ago. So it wasn't like I had to have something that I could take with me, right?
Yeah.
And so I casually just started helping friends like sell their stuff, right? They're like, I got this job interview, or I want this promotion, or like, how do I sell this? And so I started, like one lady was like this graphic designer. And so I started just helping them navigate the conversation, and they were making money. And so I was like, okay, this is a thing. Like I hired a business coach. And then over the last 3 years, it's just been something that I've built up over time, taking those principles, my cleaning company principles, but also the nuances in the conversation that I learned while like approaching families for donation. So that's sort of how I got here.
I love this. So I literally want to ask you a million questions right now, but I want to navigate through your story for just a second, because some people, like, I know your story. I paid very close attention to you. I literally like cyber stalk you on the regular, just so you know. Like, I'm seriously like, the cyber crush is real. Like, I see what you're doing, and I'm like, this girl is fascinating as hell to me. So I know your story about, and I hope that you're okay with me kind of sharing this because you've shared it yourself publicly, but you had a medical condition when you and your husband first got married, and they told you that you need to have kids now or you're never going to have kids, right?
Yeah.
So when you had 7 or 5 children in 7 years, you did it because you're like, I need to have children. And it was non-negotiable for you, right? Like, you're like, I want kids. Let's do this. We're gonna have kids.
Yeah. We always wanted a big family, and we had met in high school, and we were sort of waiting until we were done with college to get married. And I ended up having this really weird bloating, and it was just only on one side of my stomach, and it only happened when I'd laid down. And I thought, oh man, this has got to be like IBS. I'm like 21 years old. You know, I'm strong and I'm healthy, and I went in and I thought that they would just be able to like prescribe me some like bloating pills. And they're like, no, like it could be your appendix. So within 2 weeks, I ended up having what they call a low malignant potential tumor. And so they took out my right ovary because there was a grapefruit sized tumor on that size and a lime sized one on the left one. So I only have like a portion of my left ovary. And they were like, if you were any older, we would have taken everything out. So like, if you want children, like you need to go have them now. So we got married 3 months later. And it took us about 2 years to have the first one, and then almost that long to have the second one. And then the third and fourth came almost like literally, like the third and fourth one came back to back. And then the fifth one was like, we kind of knew better.
And Mary, that is Mary. That's your little Mary. And she is 100% your mini me. That child, like, you couldn't try to clone yourself and have a child look more like you than that kid.
She's so awesome.
She's gorgeous. She looks just like you. She's got your smile, and you can already tell she's got your little personality too. Like, she's just adorable.
Yeah.
So I love that story about you, because I don't know if you know the story about me, but I want to share this because I think that this is a lot of the reason why so many people resonate with us and they connect with us is because of our stories, right? Like, that's a huge part of sales, I feel like.
Yeah.
But that was one of the reasons why I connected to you. When you started telling your story more, I was like, oh my God, because my husband and I tried to get pregnant it was about 2 years. And I actually found out I found out I was pregnant with my daughter Elizabeth on Christmas Eve, December 2013. Mm-hmm. And when I got pregnant with her, the very first ultrasound, they found 2 fibroids in my ovaries, and they're still there, and they're totally fine. They haven't grown at all. If anything, they've actually gotten smaller, but there's 2 little fibroids in there, and that shit is scary, right? Mm-hmm. Cut to on top of that, when I was 16, I did have a tiny cyst in my ovary. They put me on birth control right away because that's like the answer, especially back in like the early 90s. That was the answer. And but it was like a thing for us too, where it's like, oh my God, if I'm not a mother, like now that I'm married, if I don't become a mother, like what is my purpose in life, right? And then I had my daughter, and she was 10 months old, and we found out I was pregnant with baby number 2, thank God, and that was my son. And I'm like, okay, I'm almost 40, no more babies, one healthy girl, one healthy boy, and we're done. And you said, I had one, I want 4 more, but I get it. Like I commend you, because I have 2, and I feel like I'm going to lose my mind on any given day. You have 5.
I do kind of quite.
You have an army.
I know, it's true. But that really plays into the go-getter spirit that I think that we both have, that like, it's like now or never. Like you
Right.
you have to go after what you want for sure.
And would you, and saying that, would you not say that motherhood and looking at your beautiful children's faces every day doesn't drive you further and further to push harder in your business?
Yeah, absolutely. There's Jordan Belfort is like this sales guy, and he basically said something along the similar lines of that, you know, you would never walk through fire for yourself, but man, if your kid was on the other side of that, like you wouldn't think twice about it. So you're able to do a lot more for like other people, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And that's what makes me come out of my comfort zone. Like if I'm like, you know, in a, you know, between a rock and a hard place situation, financially, emotionally, like I'm just not feeling it. And my daughter will come home from school, and she'll just look at me and be like, and then she'll show me like, oh, mommy, I'm coming home with like, you know, perfect, like a perfect day. Like she was a good kid, and she came home with 3 bands each day, and she's like showing me her work. And I'm like, this kid is working so hard just to make me proud of her. What am I doing? Like, and I'll like pick up my phone, start writing a little bit of copy, do a Facebook Live, and sell something.
This is true. There was one time where John and I were like in this like stupid fight. And I was like, I quit. I'm done. I'm not doing my business. I'm like getting a job. And then my kids started crying. Like my daughter Elaine was like, no, Mom, I don't want you to quit your job. You love it. And so like they pay attention, like they know, and they are a part of the entire process from start to finish.
They are. They really are. So let's talk about your process. So you got going doing the sales thing. You became so you're teaching people how to speak, and you call it consensual sales.
Mm-hmm.
You have consensual sales, and then you've got your membership, or what I like to call your continuity program, called Speakeasy. And I've been in Speakeasy, and the only reason why I'm telling people this, the only reason why I dropped out of it is because I wasn't participating in it enough, and I was just like, I can't do this to Shawna. Like I'm not going to be in something and not contribute whatsoever, or, you know, take the advice or whatever. So, but the one call that I ended up having with her really shifted my brain a lot. So let's talk about consensual sales. Why do you call it that?
That's really funny that you say that, because I didn't even come up with it. My ideal client did. So I'm very much in the camp of like, if you're trying to figure out what you do, or you're trying to figure out what to write, like just ask the people that work closely with you. And so that's what I did. I'm always asking, how would you explain what I did? How would you describe it? What did we accomplish, right? It's so hard to always see your work from your perspective. And so I asked an ideal client, and she basically said something along the lines like, yeah, you teach consensual sales. And I was like, I'm running with it. I'm using it. And so then basically I honed in on the process, which is, selling typically feels really weird if you're selling the wrong thing to the wrong person. And so what we want to do in the beginning part of that bit is to make sure, one, that this is the right person, that they're selling the right thing, and that like they want it, like they've extended an invitation for you to talk about it, right? So and people forget that. They forget the invitation part, and that's what I think really gets people upset a lot of times when you're getting sold to and you like didn't ask for it. You're like, I don't know why I even need this thing. Like, who the hell are you? And so what we want to do is we want to hit a couple of those points right out the gate before you even try selling.
This is exactly why so many people, and I'm picking on them for a minute because I need to say this. That is exactly why so many people cringe at the idea of direct sales or multi-level marketing, because and I'm picking on them for a minute because I still have people do it to me. I don't know what groups are teaching it. I don't know who the upline people are, but people that just message me and say, hey, I saw that you were in this group and you said that you're a live stream video person. You love to do marketing. Would you like more money in your business? I've got the CBD oil that I want to sell you, or I've got this makeup that would help you with your business. And I'm like, at what point did I ever say anything about needing makeup or needing CBD oil, right? So, and that's a lot of what you're talking about. Whether it doesn't matter what business you're in, whether you're selling live stream video or you're selling oils or you're selling almonds or you're selling avocado in a bowl, which by the way is quite delicious. If the other person doesn't need it, or if you don't know how to convey the message to let them understand that they do need it, that sucks. So can we talk about that for just a second? Because
Sure.
people want to know how we do that, because sometimes I can go do a Facebook Live and people can be like, it doesn't matter. I can just do a Facebook Live and I've got all these like 32, 50 friends, whatever, on my personal profile. And they don't necessarily want to learn how to make guacamole. But if I stand there and I'm showing them how to make guacamole, by the time I'm done, they're like, holy crap, I wish I could jump through the phone and have some of that guacamole. And a lot of the reason why is because I believe that a big piece of sales needs to be the experience. So I do experience sales, right? So what do you think? I'm going to shut up. I'm not trying to.
No, yeah, you're totally fine.
But what do you think about that when people do that? And it's like, you are kind of sometimes talking to everyone. What are some of the best ways that you think we can do that when we're trying to promote ourselves on our personal profiles?
To create like the experiential selling is sort of what you're thinking. Well, the very first step is like to only connect with people that you think are cool, right? Like where maybe you respect their work, maybe you think what they're doing is interesting, maybe they have a funny sense of humor. So that's sort of like the first step, right? Like, is this somebody that I could be friends with? Like you don't know yet, but you're just getting the vibe that essentially that maybe they could be. Then what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have some level of like connection. Like what do you have in common? Okay, are we taking a picture?
I'm going to take a quick selfie so that everybody in the group, I'm doing this real quick. If you're listening to this on the podcast, I'm doing this very quickly because I want everybody to know that even though we were having technical difficulty, I want them to know I'm still recording and we're going to upload this somewhere. Oh, she did I love it. Please continue, Shawna. Yes.
Yeah. So then basically you want to have something in common, right? Because it's nothing is worse when you're like, who is this person and why are they talking to me? And so if you can have some sort of commonality, a connection, maybe you read something about, maybe they wrote something that resonated with you. That's a connection, right? And then once you have the connection, so first of all, that is like, that's giving something in somebody's inbox or direct messages rather than taking, like stealing their time with like, how are you? Or what's your health goals today? Even though I just met you and have no idea who you are. So that's one way that you can make the connection without it feeling awkward or weird, right? Most people don't really know what to say. And so you got to spend a little bit, you just have to think, you just have to spend some time thinking and gathering the relevant information. And then only then do you facilitate a conversation. And when they know you and what you do, and you know them and what they do, you can actually have a conversation, right? And that's then maybe you leverage your marketing material. Maybe you invite them to a challenge. Maybe you say like, I thought, like you jump on a call and you like get to know them or like whatever sort of
excuse me,
back and forth that or like what am I trying to say? When there's a back and forth exchange, even if they don't become your clients, they'll become connectors to your clients. And that's what I want people to say, like, know is that if you're just having conversations with people that you enjoy and they enjoy you, you naturally will get more sales. Just the sheer fact that more people know you and you're expanding your own network will lead to more sales, even if you're not going for like a hard pitch every single time, right?
How often do you find that you are, I just tagged you on a post earlier today. Mm-hmm. How often per day would you say that you're tagged on a post? Pretty often?
I'd say pretty often.
Pretty often, at least every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's because your network is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And because you do what you do and you're really good at what you do, but because you connect with people who are like-minded, right? Like at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So when you do a Facebook Live on your personal page, if you ever do, I'm going to jump on that and I'm going to listen to everything that comes out of your mouth and I'm going to apply that to my business because I know that you are extremely knowledgeable when it comes to this stuff. You're wise beyond your years, and you're very successful at what you do. So that's important too, because with Facebook specifically, you know, you make friends with people, and people just make friends with people because they see that they're friends with me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't just make friends with somebody just because I see that they're friends with you, Shawna. I know you, I like you, and I trust you, but you work with, like, say, like a lot of photographers, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I go to your page and I see that you work with a lot of photographers, a photographer might not be an ideal client for me.
Sure.
But if I look in your page and I hunt through a couple more people and I see that we have in common real estate agents or mortgage professionals or other coaches or consultants or speakers or book authors,
Mm-hmm.
I might reach out to those people instead, because those are my ideal clients. Those are the people who I can help really, really well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to expand on what you just said, and I want to tell people, if you're going out there and you're trying to expand your network, you got to play around with that algorithm. That algorithm is going to look at the fact that you're connecting with service-based businesses and people who do that thing, and they use the same words, and they connect with the same people, and they go live regularly or whatever. Make sure you're connecting with those people, and then the people you're connecting with those people, make sure those are people who you think are really, you're going to like them, because
Mm-hmm.
you got to like them before they like you. I feel, you know what I mean? Like,
yes, you have to give attention before you get it. And I think people just sort of want to do this like broadcast sales life. And it's like, no, like there's like that famous quote. It's like, if you pay attention to somebody, like if you pay close attention to somebody for like, 6 months or a couple months, you'll make more sales than you do the whole year. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
I think it's a Dale Carnegie quote, something like that. Like if you pay attention to people, you'll make more, what I just said.
You gotta care. You just, at the end of the day, it's like, you have to actually care about people, right?
Right. Well, think about your own business. Like when you think about the most growth that you've had in your business, that probably came from people that knew you well and you knew them well. And so sometimes you might just need a couple more friends, like strategic friendships, than you do like another marketing tool, right?
Yeah, no, totally. So I want to love on you for a minute. So, because I feel like I haven't done enough of this yet. You do the speakeasy,
Yes.
and then you also work with clients one-on-one.
Oh, sometimes I get pulled into projects.
I feel like you talk about being pulled into projects a lot. So do you find that, like, you work with nonprofits for donations too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of that?
No, right now I've got like one event where they need sponsorship. So I do some of their like connecting and outreach and like pitching. So I do that. So if you need some help as you're doing your military thing, I'd be happy to give you a fresh perspective.
Yeah. So yeah, I would like some help on that. So let's talk about that offline. I'd prefer that offline. But okay, so I've got my conference. Okay, so we could but let's talk about that for a second. Let's say I started a nonprofit having to do with what's something that you've done really well. Like just give us an example of like how you would help prospect that.
I would be really honest. I would say, I know that like you weren't expecting this email or this phone call, but I wanted to reach out to you because we're putting this thing together, and here's some ways that we think that it could benefit you.
Gotcha.
Would you be open to having a quick conversation about that? So I kind of like let them, like, one, like be really transparent, who you are, what you do, what do you want? And then just say, we'd love to talk to you about take an educated guess on why this would benefit them, but make it relevant. So like you might have to spend some time like putzing through their, I don't know, on their social media, on their website. We just did this with a cold pitch I have a client who wanted to cold pitch a law firm, and she wanted to help them write their like job descriptions that they post online, because they were posting their job descriptions and they were really, really bad. And so rather than just sending and then saying like, hey, this sucks, like you should talk to me because I am a project manager and help with HR stuff. What we can do is we gathered the relevant information about their business, which we're like, they cared a lot. They had like won all these crazy big lawsuits, right, in the millions. And basically we leveraged that in the pitch. We basically just said, it sounds like, I come across your stuff on this thing, and this is who I am. And I noticed after I spent some time like getting to know you on your website and on your social media that you care a lot about quality, right? Like you care about, coming across it, like whatever we did, in the pitch, but we emphasize the quality that they seek and leverage that into the job descriptions that they want to attract for the right top people for their firm, right? So this is just like one way of making sure that it's relevant, but you're giving them something rather than feeling like you're taking and stealing their time.
I love that.
And how you're going out of your way to like help them with their cause rather than like, let me hire me and like let me benefit you. Like it's specific, like specificity sells. And so it's very persuasive the more specific you can get.
I literally, you'd be proud of me. I should have sent it to you first, but I sent a very awesome cold email to someone who I was hoping would be a sponsor for our event. And it was because a friend of mine suggested this person. And that's how I opened it up. I said, my friend so-and-so strongly recommended that I reach out to you, and here's why, right? And I just, whatever. And I'm hoping to hear back from the person, but let's just say that they're very, they do well in a specific area of finance. And it's scary. It's nerve-wracking for me to reach out to somebody and ask somebody for money, especially like from that level, but it's an event and we need sponsors. So I kind of have to, right? But I was just at my hair salon. I'm at my hair salon and I'm looking around and I'm going, I bet you I'm doing this conference for women. And I was thinking to myself, what's one thing that women love? We love to get our hair done, right? So I started talking to the salon owner about possibly like if they had anything that they wanted to donate to our swag bags for the conference. And so he's like, tell me more about the conference. And before I knew it, he's like, I might actually want to be a sponsor. And I'm on the chair of the Chamber of Commerce of North Tampa, and we want you to come in and train our people. And oh yeah, by the way, I'm one of my business partners owns a magazine for Tampa, and they love to highlight veterans. And I'm like, oh my god, like, are you kidding me right now? So it was incredible, Shawna, where the conversation took, kind of took off to. So what happens in Speakeasy? Because I noticed that like you don't do things like normal people. Like you don't just have a group, you do it in Slack. Like talk to me about that. Why do you do that?
Hang on, I wanted to emphasize how like the point of how important it is that everything that you want is behind a conversation. And if you don't know how to like talk to people or connect their dreams to like yours, like you'll have very limited opportunities. So kudos, like way to go to like stick your neck out there and take sort of an educated guess. And you can say that. You can actually say like selling doesn't have to be like super professional stuff. You can just say the most honest thing. Like, hey, I don't know if you'd be interested in this, but I'd love to have a conversation with you about like what it would mean to have this level of exposure for your business. And everybody wants more business, more money, more clients, more exposure. So like,
I love that. I love that. I love those words because that's exactly what it is. I mean, when you host a conference, the conference is exposure. We post all over social media, right? Our keynote speaker is huge. And I mean, things like that. I like that. I like that you worded it that way. See, sometimes for me, where it comes to me, and this might be true for a lot of people, so I want you to listen to this. If you're listening to this, if you're watching the video, please hear me out right now. If you are like me, if I get somebody on a call, right, I can give them phenomenal advice to implement. And then they do it and they're like, oh my God, they come back to me like a week later or a month later and go, Trish, I can't even believe this. Like this, it's working. It's happening. Like this is happening. Like oh my God, I just freaking 3X my investment with you. I just, 10X my investment with you. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Yay. Send me a testimonial. But where it comes to me, like for myself, I can tend to freeze up.
Sure.
And I have major mental blocks. Yeah. And And that's why I need people like you in my corner. Like, that's why I wanted to get into speakeasy, because you made it sound so easy. And I'm like, why? So is there like a psychology of that? Like, do you have, are there a lot of people that you find are the same way?
Yeah, I think it's really common that when you're emotionally invested in something, that your brain like shuts off the moment the conversation feels crucial, right? There's actually a book called Crucial Conversations that emphasizes this point, that anytime that you go to have like a hard conversation, or one that maybe you haven't role played, which is one thing that we do inside Speakeasy, like we actually role play the words and we like make you say it back until it feels comfortable and you're used to it. Because your brain will like literally shut off. And I know you know this because like you know, like you feel like a deer in headlights, or people often like somebody's expressed interest in your work and you're like what, right? Like everything comes out at once. And so I knew that when I created Speakeasy, I wanted it to emphasize the nuances of those conversations where you get support as it's happening, because it doesn't like the material, like the courses and stuff sure might help build the skill set, but like what we do know is that like practicing that skill set is going to be what's most important. And so that's where I wanted to emphasize my membership at.
And you got a lot of members in there.
Yeah, we've got 25 in there right now.
25. I mean, that's a lot of people though, right? And so, and if you don't mind me asking you this, and I really hope that you don't mind me asking you this, what do you charge to be in Speakeasy?
It's a $198 a month membership that you can cancel at any time.
Okay, I'm coming back in. Like this is, I'm serious, because you're so damn good at what you do. And it gives me that accountability to like really like do the thing. I want you all to understand something. When you have somebody of Shawna's caliber to really walk you through that process and give you the words, because we all do this blah, 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 blah. Like, people ask me what I do, and I've practiced it so many times. Even my friend Arnie Giske, he gets so proud of me because he's like, oh my God, your elevator pitch is like phenomenal now, right? People come and be like, well, what do you do? I never say I'm a digital marketer anymore, because quite frankly, anybody who's on the internet is a digital marketer, right? But when people ask me what I do, I'm like, I teach service-based businesses how to profit with live stream video. And then people look at me and they go, oh, wait, so like you can show me how I can make money on live video? I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I can do. Really? Yeah, try me. What do you do? And I can give them like an idea right then and there. And it's fun for me to do that because I can, and it's what I'm good at. But I want people to realize how powerful it can be when you can have somebody like Shawna and her caliber, like just how well and you even do, I've seen you do it when I'm in the group. She'll do a Zoom call, like she'll have a Zoom window up and she'll let you listen to her call and basically like essentially pitch a company to be a sponsor for an event. I saw you do that. You're in your kitchen, like walking back and forth, like cooking.
I did do that. There was like a festival in like South Carolina. I got pulled in for a random project. But yeah, like that's how people are going to learn, is if they can see it in action, right? Yeah. Like, can I really see this in action and have it be broken down for me, right? Because if they can see me do it like this in the kitchen and the kids, like, then they can do it. And it's like a really nice gig as a stay-at-home mom.
And one of my favorite things about that, if you don't mind me telling people what your trick was, this was a trick I felt. She's on the phone with the company and they don't really have time in the moment to talk further about it. So she says, well, why don't you give me your email address? And if it's okay, I'll send you more information and we can book a time throughout that email to talk further about it. What's a good day for you? A good day and time. So she's asking the permission. They're giving her permission to email them and to and to follow up with a better date and time for her to call them. I loved everything about that. Like, I was like, oh my God, I have to do that in all my calls from now on.
That's actually like a stopping point. So like if you're in sales conversations and people are not, like, they're ghosting you or they're following up, you need to take it like one extra step and like kind of pave the way to show them like, this is what will happen. This is what's coming next. This is what's behind the door. And if you can do that, it's easier for people to say yes. Like, what are you going to email me? like, well, like, when are you going to call me? Like, if there's any sort of like uncertainty about the next step, they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's in your best. So sometimes it can come across as pushy, but it's not. Like, you're getting their permission, but you're making it easy for them to continue that process with you.
well, and let's face it, in this technical world, everybody's like, can you just send me the link? Just send me the calendar link. Like, even with me, when people are like, hey, Trish, can I want to have you on my podcast? I'm like, cool, just send me your link. Let me just book myself. Because I have no time to look at my calendar right now.
Well, and how many times have you also forgotten and you're sitting there wishing that people would follow up with you? Like,
Yeah.
there's times where like, I want to buy stuff, or I saw things, or like, I don't get an email, and it's like, I would have bought from you. I just like, I need it right here.
It's funny because even my makeup girl, the girl that I buy my makeup from, she sells Unique. And
Sure.
she does Facebook Lives like all the time. Like every night she's doing a Facebook Live, and she's hilarious. Like, she's one of my favorite people on the internet too. And every time I see her Facebook Live, the second I see her, I'm like, ooh, do I need more eyeshadow? Do I need more blush? Do I need more powder? And then like once a month, she'll reach out to me and go, hey, we're running a special, blah, blah, blah. Do you need anything? Let me know. And I'm like, nope, I'm good this month. And then the following month, she'll reach out to me again and be like, oh my God, I do. I need more pressed powder. I need this lipstick. I need this. I need this. And before I know it, I just spent $70 on makeup in a 2-minute conversation. But she made the sale happen. Right. So she knows to follow up with me. So that's the other thing too. Right. So what and I love your emails. Oh my God, Shawna, let's talk about emails and the importance of a list.
Sure. Yeah.
And then I'll leave you alone.
No, you're fine. What was the email question?
I said, no, I really want to know, like, what is your take on the importance of people getting email addresses and having an email list?
I think it's super important, because if you are not there every day or like frequently, someone else will be.
Yes. Oh my
Right?
God. Do that again. Say that again.
Yes. So if you're not there like every day, or at least not frequently, someone else will be, and they will sell your people. And if you have something of value that you know can help them, like, I think that you have like a responsibility to be doing them. And the great thing about email too is that it doesn't have to be like profound. Like, that's one thing that I'm always working on. Like, it doesn't have to be profound. Like, sometimes it's just like I'm thinking of you and this stuff came up, or I read this blog post, thought of you, like, here's like, I don't know, like, it doesn't have to be this crazy complicated thing. It literally is just like a letter to your people. And that's how I try to treat it.
Yeah, no, I love that you just said that. Nathan Frazier is another incredible copywriter, a very good friend of mine, and he talks about writing to your email list as if you're writing to an individual person, because they're not receiving the email as a group, they're receiving it as an individual person. Mm-hmm. And then Robert Raff I had in here in the group on Tuesday, and he said the same thing. The guy, he's done billions of dollars in sales for very large companies, and he said, you know, that sometimes the simplest email subject line, hey, and then the body is, here's something you probably need for your household. And then you just click on the link and you're like, oh, I need that for my household. And it could just be your detergent, or, you know, the Magic Wizard. I had the Wash Wizard. I just bought that thing. I freaking love it, by the way. But you're right. You're 100% right. Like, we have to make sure that, because there's a percentage of people, I don't even know what the statistics are, but I'm sure that there's a large percentage of people who only pay attention to their emails, and then another percentage of people who only pay attention to Facebook Messenger or LinkedIn messages, right? So
some methods work for some people some of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So so what's going on right now? Like, do you have any projects that you're working on for 2020? Talk to me.
I have my first like paid speaking gig, which is kind of exciting. I'll be in Florida, in Miami. Is that close to you?
Miami is 4 hours away, but we could possibly figure out a way to meet halfway and like do lunch one day. That could be fun. Oh my God. I would jump on you and like knock you over to hug you. I'm not
That would be so fun.
Like, we'd have to video our first embrace.
Yeah, I kind of like my goal is to still grow my membership. Like, I love that place. I wish I could spend all day in there with my people, helping them sell. But I'm kind of, like I said, I kind of get pulled into projects, and I like it that way, kind of depending on like what's going on. But I mean, I hope to take it kind of, I don't know. I'd like to take a month off for the summer, like maybe go visit some family. And I really like we just moved to Alabama, and I like the the pool life, the hot life, the lake life. And so I'd like to really like jump into that this summer with the crew.
So you want to do some more speaking stuff though? I'm just curious because I've got so many people in my network that will probably want to reach out to you and talk to you about being a speaker for sales.
Yeah, if anything, I think that anything is negotiable. So if they can.
All right, good. I like that. And then I'm very curious. What does your husband do?
Are you serious?
Yeah, I really don't know. I'm sorry.
That's okay. My husband is like one of the world-renowned mosquito experts.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he actually was pre-med like in college and didn't get in and ended up working in somebody's lab, right? He was trying to get like lab research for medical school, and when he didn't get in, the lady in the lab was like, who was a mosquito expert, was like, you should just stay and get your PhD. So he got his PhD in entomology, and basically after the PhD, he ended up with a postdoc at Yale and was there for 3 years. And now he's a professor here that does research on mosquitoes and how they spread disease. So,
oh my God, that's like amazing.
Yeah, he's really smart.
Oh my God. Like I hate mosquitoes. Like it's god awful in the summertime here in Tampa, in the Tampa Bay area. I get tore up. I'm not even no joke. For those of you who are listening to this on the podcast, I'm holding up a bottle of peppermint essential oil because I have to like live in this stuff, like to keep mosquitoes away from me. Peppermint and lavender. And my kids too, because I get like welts. Like I'm allergic to them.
They kill more people than anything else in the whole world. Like mosquitoes.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, they're the #1 killer in the whole world.
Yeah. So only, the second killer is what? Heart disease? Mosquitoes, heart disease.
This is true.
That is incredible. I honestly, if he'd be open to it, I'd be very interested in interviewing him about this. Seriously.
Yeah, I could let him know. John? Oh, that's Jane. I'll tell him. I can tell him because he like discovered some weird shit in like 50 years in his field that's like patented and stuff.
Oh my God. Oh, you guys are like, I can't even right now. Like this is amazing. I saw you post something about, I'm going to I love all of your posts, by the way. Your posts crack me up every time. I'm like literally lolling. But you did a post where you said that you like one dress versus another dress, and that your husband, the doctor told you that, Dr. Beckmann told you that you couldn't wear one outfit because it wasn't beer in a cooler kind of a party. It was an actual like fancy party. So you had to, and I'm like, wait a second, her husband's a doctor? A doctor of what? So that's why I asked the question. And now I know, and I'm so excited because he's literally my hero. Literally my hero. Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, cool. All right, well, so you wanna do anything's negotiable for speaking in 2020. You're going to be coming to Miami soon, and so you and I are going to have to figure out a halfway place to meet so that we're not either one of us driving 4 hours.
That would be awesome.
We're going to talk offline about how I can get more sponsors for my MWC in February.
Absolutely.
And if you are someone who's listening to this or watching this video and you are not so good at speaking sales, I got a gal right here. She speaks easy and she tells you how to do it too. You need to go connect with her. You need to get into her speakeasy group. And if you're not in there yet, go over to Consensual Sales. What's the name of the group, the free group?
It's just called Consensual Sales.
Yep, facebook.com/consensual sales. And then your website is heyshawnabeckmann.com. Yep, because I've literally, when I say I've stalked you, I've stalked you. She's amazing at what she does. She's amazing at writing copy. She's amazing at speaking sales. She's an absolute sweetheart, and all of her social media posts are hilarious. So Shawna, my darling, I love you so much. You are a mother of 5 children and they need you sooner rather than later. So I'm going to let you go. Thank you for being patient.
You are so
for
welcome.
having technical difficulties. If anybody has any questions for Shawna in the group, please feel free to ask them, connect with her, and do me a favor, hire her. If you need help to do this stuff, let her take on the project that you need help getting sales for. Please, please, please. She's amazing at what she does.
I think so too.
Yes. All right, guys, listen, I love you. I appreciate you all. Make sure that if you're not already in there, go get into the Facebook group, The Expert Connection. Don't forget to press live with purpose. Leto out.